Hey guys, Mr. Gucci here with the next bit of the homework help guide. Okay, so the next questions you would have on the 2.3 worksheet is rounding numbers according to the significant digits. So let's say you got a measurement or some value and you decided that you wanted to round it to two significant figures. How would you do it? Well, according to the notes, it's pretty simple. You just start on the left and work your way across the right, all right? And however many significant figures you're allowed, that's how many numbers you can keep. And the rest have to be rounded into zeros. So here's some sample problems. Again, these aren't the homework problems you're dealing with. Okay, these aren't the homework problems you're dealing with. This is just a sample. So question 1, 3.34. If you were to round that to two significant figures, and all these are two significant figures, how would you do so? Well, let's start on the left and work our way across. Okay, so we can keep this 3. Okay, we can keep this 3. Okay, this 4, we can't keep it. We only get two significant figures. So this gets rounded away. Rounded away. It's a decimal, so it would just be gone. Is it above? Is it 5 or above? It's not, so it would not cause the next number to round up. Okay, so it's just 3.3. Okay, let's take a look at the next one, number 32. You're allowed to keep two significant figures. So again, let's start from the left and read across. Okay, so we can keep this 6. Okay, we can keep that number right there, that 4, and we have to round the rest of the things away. Now, the thing that comes after a 4 is an 8. Which means that it would cause this guy to round up. You all remember your rounding, right? If the number that comes right before it is a 5 or above, you round up. So here we go. So this would actually round up. So this would be a 6, this would be a 5, and everything else here would become a 0. This doesn't round to 65, right? In no universe does 648,300 round to 65. It rounds to 650,000, okay? That's like saying, Mr. Gucci, you owe me, $1,129. I'm like, well, let me just round that to two significant figures. 11. Here's $11. Like, no, Mr. Gucci, that's not what you owe me. All right, so you got to make sure that the numbers keep their values. You're just rounding, keeping their essential values. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, number 33, okay? So, going. Okay, we can keep the 3. Okay, we can keep the 9. And that's it. Everything else we have to round away, get rid of. Well, these are just zeros at the end, so we can just get rid of them. So this would be 0.00039. And if you want to be sure that it's two significant figures, all right, 0.00039. If you want to be sure it's two significant figures, then just use the rules from above and calculate how many significant figures this has. Okay, well, how many sig figs? Ignore the zeros at the beginning of a small number, so it's just 1, 2. Two significant figures, okay? Here we go. 4.63 times 10 to the 23rd. We want to round that to two significant figures, so we can keep the 4. We can keep the 6. We got to round away the 3. And since it's a 3, it doesn't cause the 6 to change. So it would just be 4.6 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay? Here's another one, 796. Okay, so you can keep the 7. You can keep the 9. The 6 has to round away. But because it's more than 5, it would cause this to round up, which in this case causes this to round up. My lord, this becomes 800. Now, here is an inherent problem in these significant figure calculations, the way we have to deal with them. And that is that you look at this and you're like, that's only one significant figure, Mr. Gucci, the 8, right? How am I supposed to know this 0 is actually measured? Well, it's tough. There's not really a good way to do it. Sometimes what they'll do in science is they'll put a line over top. They'll put a line over top to like indicate that, oh, that 0 was measured, all right? But that's like really weird. And like, another way people can do it is they can just be like, oh, it's 8.0 times 10 to the second. They put it in scientific notation to let us know. You could just put 800 for me. And that's just the answer it is. And Maybe you put a note, and maybe you just pray that your numbers don't end in zeros in a weird rounded way, and we'll see what happens. All right, do your best. Okay, let's round this one to two significant figures. So moving, we can keep the 2. We can keep the 3. The 1 has to be rounded away. And since it's not 5 or more, we just get rid of it. Okay, so 0.00023. Okay, how about this one? 564.99. We can, moving from left to right, we can keep the 5. We can keep the 6. And because this is a 4 right here, we round it away. It doesn't change the 6. The answer is 560. 560. The rest of the stuff just rounds away. All right. It's really close to being rounded up, but it's not quite. It rounds away because the thing that comes after the 6 is a 4. So just 560. All right. Here's another one. 23.01. We can keep two significant figures. So we can move across. We can keep the 2, and we can keep the 3, and that's it. The rest has to get rounded away. So this 0.01 just gets rounded off. It's 23. Okay. How about this one? 39. We can keep two significant, so 900,300. So we can keep two significant figures. Okay. So moving from left to right, we can keep the 9. We can keep this 0. And everything else just rounds away. So it's just 900,000. Now, once again, you're in an awkward situation where you're like, Mr. Gucci, this only looks like it has one significant figure. How am I supposed to know that 0 is actually measured? It was a 0. You can put that line over top like I did. Or you can write it as 9.0 times 10 to the 2, 3, 4, 10 to the 5th. All right. Or you could just leave it as 900,000 and we just accept that it's going to be a little annoying right now. Okay. Lastly, 10.90, rounded to two significant figures. Okay, so moving from left to right, we keep the 1. We keep this 0. And because a 9 comes after it, when we round it, it would cause this guy to round up. So the answer is 11. Okay, so that's how you do it. You move from left to right. Okay, and when you hit a number, then you start counting. That's how many significant figures you can keep. Okay, that's how many significant figures you can keep. All right, so two significant figures. All right, I get to keep the first number that comes up as I move from left to right. I can keep the second number that comes up as I move from left to right. And then I have to round away the rest. If the one that came after was like 5 or more, then I'd have to, when I round up. Okay? But you can only keep the first number you encounter and the second. If it's 3 sig figs, then you can keep 3 numbers that you encounter. If it's 4 sig figs, then you can like go from left to right. You can keep those 4 numbers. Sometimes there's only 1 sig fig, and you move from left to right. You can keep 1 number. What you gonna do? All right. If you wanted more significant figures in your answer, you had to have better numbers going in, which is what we'll talk about next.